In a world where power decides everything, one ordinary butler is about to rewrite the rules. But everything changes when he awakens an S-Class ability no one saw coming.
And then, the declaration rings out. Butler Kim has logged in. Stepping into the fray, the voice speaks out.
We shall be bold. You, O Lord, with solemn purpose, they demand divine strength. Grant us the power to smite corruption. Their unwavering faith is voiced next. We believe you, O Lord. The call grows stronger. A plea for resilience makes steadfast the hearts of warriors who stand against evil. Finally, they command and drive out the unholy presence.
The charge is unstoppable. With a mighty surge forward, he closes the distance, his momentum gathering immense power. He confronts the terrifying power before him, advancing relentlessly until there is no space left between them. The final push begins. All the force, all the intent, drives him straight into the heart of the conflict. After days of drawn-out battles, we finally reach the endgame. We, the final Flash, will be the first raid party to bring down the giant Loch. A dramatic moment as the characters charge forward, the action continues as they face the massive threat, as the battle reaches a terrifying peak. Amidst the devastating clash, the immediate survival of the team is at stake. A panicked shout rings out. "First row, don't fall back!" The leader continues to command, ensuring they maintain stability. "Hold the formation!" Suddenly, a crucial warning flashes. "Third row, retreat completely! A big one's coming in 5 seconds!" A crisp acknowledgement follows the warning. "Yes, sir!" Blessing of God. And divine shield. This is it. Our final approach. Keep your wits about you. Second row, we'll finish it with our ultimates. The initial strategy was flawless, yet suddenly, we found ourselves cornered. We realized that this path is a dead end, and we cannot escape this predicament. If we continue on this course, we will be utterly defeated. We absolutely require a new plan, a dramatic change in our approach. Standing before an overwhelming threat, facing a monumental danger, the members of the party remained determined. They understood that mere strength would not suffice. With an unbreakable bond and renewed resolve, they prepared for the final confrontation. They declared their intention to prevail. The battle raged around them, skill after skill being deployed in a flurry of desperate attacks. They pushed forward, facing overwhelming odds with everything they had. But just as they thought they had found a moment of respite, the battlefield was suddenly interrupted by an impossible message. The system flashed a warning. Butler Kim has logged out. The sudden announcement left everyone stunned, marked only by a confused, echoing whisper of disbelief. Huh? The mere question hung heavy in the air, leaving the fighters momentarily frozen by the shocking development. With a sudden withdrawal of their key asset, the force of the next attack crashed down upon them, leaving them reeling in its wake. "Leader, where did you go?" Suddenly, a massive disturbance erupts, followed by an alert notification. Anomalies detected. Do you require assistance? My sudden logout cost us everything. We failed to slay the boss, and to our horror, a rival guild stole the first clear. We didn't just lose a raid, we lost ranking points, slipping down the leaderboards. 5 months of preparation, all wasted in smoke. And then, the long wait ended. The foretold tragedy had finally arrived. There is a world beyond, another realm entirely. Meteria quickly became a historic phenomenon, transforming the very lives of humanity. In fact, since its launch, more and more people began commuting into Meteria, not just for adventure, but for work and income, transforming it into a second homeland. Before this, introducing oneself as merely an archer by trade was often considered a joke, but that was about to change. With this revolution, the power structure of the modern world began to tilt, the rules were rewritten, and the landscape of ambition was completely altered. For those who mastered the system, the rewards were staggering. Meteria top rankers didn't just earn experience, they gained immense wealth and achieved true national hero status. As the gamer population grew, relevant laws were swiftly created. The resulting Dodo Law offices implemented specific acts, ensuring that those who caused a raid failure could be held liable for damages. Ultimately, all participants were bound by real-world contracts. Though there was some friction, I promised full compensation, ending the dispute, I was comforted by a guildmate who pleaded for leniency on my behalf. There is a dramatic shift here, implying trouble or confrontation, leader.
What's wrong? Is it true you already sold your gear?
Yes. After seeing the sheer volume of funds, all the accumulated money, the question arose. Then, was that all you could do, leader? The exchange took a somber turn as one figure confessed, "I'm truly sorry." The moment hung in the air, punctuated by a sharp, short laugh, signaling that things were anything but settled. Facing the tension, the words were delivered. "Don't you mean that as praise, right?" However, the conversation hit a critical point. The character finally stated, "I think I'm done now." Despite the tense conclusion, a gesture of farewell was made. "Consider this a farewell gift for your hard work. After what I've done," his regret was palpable as he faced the consequences of his actions. But the other character quickly dismissed his feelings, stating that he had no need for anything anymore. "You shouldn't have left." The separation was tense, marked by a desperate plea. "Take care of yourself." Despite the difficult goodbye, he managed a whisper of gratitude. The time passed. And finally, he returned. "I'm back." The atmosphere was thick with unspoken tension, signaling that a new conflict was imminent. Facing the situation, his expression showed a mix of shock and realization. He determinedly refused whatever was being placed before him, but then the harsh reality hit him. All of his plans were derailed, leaving him with nothing but inadequate equipment. The scene shifts to a private setting, emphasizing the character's fatigue and the doctor's concern. The doctor warns the character about the necessity of rest and recovery. Despite the warnings, the character seems determined, dismissing the need for immediate concern. The focus shifts to the main task. A system notification appears. Butler Kim has logged in. High risk brings high reward. Entering the lava fields will be dangerous. But the problem is, we've been abandoned for 6 years ago. A realization hits him, understanding the gravity of their situation. Yes, my golden fishing ground. I can't believe it. Is it still alive? A lava trout, an ingredient for high-grade fire buffs items. If I catch 50 of these, I can finally pay off the installments. It's been so long since I spent time alone. The last 5 years were just raids with teammates climbing rankings. I lost everything I built in Matria overnight, but I feel at peace. My eyes kept awakening. Did something get in them? What's this? Phoenix is already respawning. It's not the time for the Phoenix to respawn now. Is it a new monster? What's that? That's not Phoenix. There's no way to escape at this range. But fighting at the cost of my current stats is also suicide. I've only found one spot that can kill the beast. Don't tell me it's going to be another deadly trap. No way. It can't be. This is my only lifeline for living expenses. What should I do? Why can't you just kill me in one go? What the hell is it doing disgusting? Can't you just kill me? I know you're just programmed to do this, right? But today, it's gonna kill me. So just kill me in one clean strike. And remember this. I'm weak now. I'll die to you passing. But one day, I'll be the one to slay you. A moment of intense silence hangs in the air, the weight of the threat settling over the characters. Meow. Confused, the character repeats the sound, questioning, "What? What was that? Did I hear that wrong?" The character shakes his head, confirming his bewilderment. No, it definitely said meow. The mysterious monster then reveals its design, explaining, it's a monster designed with a cat motif. The monster continues, dismissing the effort, and declares, "Not making the cat cute, huh? I've never seen such a majestic presence." Suddenly realization. A fishing rod. A cat. If I throw the bait, maybe I can survive. Wait. A snack. I'll give you a snack. There's no use fighting a monster if you don't plan your attacks well. Might as well try something else. Hiya. Suddenly, the character questioned the tactic, thinking, is this actually working? Despite the efforts, the enemy remained formidable, quickly overwhelming, dominating the scene, and signaling that the conflict had just reached an entirely new level. Facing a behemoth of raw power, the scale of the threat seems insurmountable. A savage roar echoes through the battlefield, signaling a dramatic escalation in the fight. The intensity peaks as the massive creature closes the distance, ready to strike again. This grueling confrontation seems to lead to an unavoidable and devastating climax. Immediately, a massive surge of energy materialized. This blinding torrent of blue power ripped through the landscape, gathering immense force with every passing moment. Who is this? Where did something like this suddenly pop up? System alert. You have died. You will automatically become a ghost. Hey, what are you doing? The protagonist confronts the mysterious figure, demanding an answer amidst the tense, unknown situation. A wave of terror washes over them, realizing the true nature of the looming threat. Suddenly, the fear becomes overwhelming. They realize it's way too terrifying. A choice is presented to them, to run or to face a darker destiny. They are asked, would you like to return at the graveyard? After the ordeal, the characters stumble into a new, uneasy location. With a deep sigh, they finally stand in the clearing, forced to contemplate what comes next. The lava zone. I wonder, how can I ever escape this? As if searching for an exit, a new map appears, pointing toward the living zone in Congolian's forest. Relief washes over them as they breathe a sigh of relief, whispering, I hope that cat monster has gone far away. But the peace is short-lived. A moment of intense confusion hits them. Why on earth? Suddenly, the situation escalates. As the characters are caught in the midst of movement, they seem to be confronted by an unavoidable threat. The confrontation is inevitable. Cornered by this massive beast, the protagonist questions the creature's actions, wondering why it seems determined to guard him as if he was something precious. A sense of dread washes over him as he realizes the true depth of the threat. He questions, is it waiting to kill me again when I revive? But desperation forces a change of tactics. He devises a crucial strategy. First, he must rush in to revive the moment the creature turns back. And second, he must escape as far as possible, moving directly opposite the gaze of the beast. The strategy is put into motion. The beast lunges forward, closing the distance with terrifying speed, initiating the final violent stage of the chase. The struggle intensifies. The protagonist is caught in the wake of the relentless beast, surviving only by maneuvering through the chaos as the battle reaches a dangerous peak. After everything that happened, he found himself lying helpless on the ground. As the terrifying figure looms above, a sudden realization crosses his mind. This is my chance. He finally shouted, understanding his only opportunity. Suddenly, a system notification appeared before him, asking if he wished to revive. Consequently, the confirmation message flashed before his eyes. You have revived. Standing up. And with renewed determination, he finally prepared himself to face them once more. The battle intensified, forcing us into close proximity with the monstrous foe. Every step we took felt heavy, knowing that the creature was relentless and powerful. There was nowhere left to retreat. We were cornered by the sheer size of it. We braced ourselves, preparing for the next onslaught. But as we struggled to find an opening, the atmosphere suddenly shifted. The gigantic creature seemed to anticipate our every move, pressing its advantage. I stood ready, facing the behemoth, prepared for the final clash. Wait, was this a trap? With sudden, overwhelming force, they were immediately caught off guard, finding themselves cornered by a superior threat. As the fight escalates, they are forced to flee, desperately seeking a path of escape from the rapidly closing danger. However, their retreat is cut short as a massive and powerful figure looms directly before them, signaling the start of a final, brutal clash. The ensuing impact is catastrophic waves of devastating force, explode outward, engulfing everything in a torrent of raw, destructive energy. You have died. You will be reborn. You must move to the graveyard. Facing overwhelming odds and a monstrous enemy, survival seems impossible. Suddenly, a proposition arrives. The system asks, would you like to revive? Though cornered, the protagonist gathers his thoughts. He realizes he has a strategy. I've come up with a plan. With a flash, the system confirms, you have revived. And with a surge of confidence, he whispers, I have a feeling this will work. The weight of the battle has finally caught up to him. He struggles to move, every breath a ragged gasp for air. What is this? He tries to lift his head, questioning what the source of his pain or exhaustion might be. Every muscle aches. He can barely keep himself upright, collapsing back onto the cold, hard ground. There's no escape. He is cornered, forced to remain motionless as the tension builds around him. A chilling realization hits him. He clutches his head, overwhelmed by the sheer shock of what he is facing. He lies in a state of semi-consciousness, battered and pushed to his absolute limit. Yet, even in his deepest exhaustion, his senses begin to flutter. What is that? He tries to focus. Suddenly, a sound rings out, a sound that jolts him out of his despair with a sharp, surprised cry. He struggles, gathering every ounce of willpower to resist whatever is coming, forcing out a pained, choked sound. His eyes widen in sheer panic. He finally registers the threat before him, a force far greater than anything he anticipated. The battle raged around, but something felt wrong. The weight of the situation was becoming too much to bear. Looking back, it seemed like I got caught by a crazy bastard. Suddenly, a harsh system announcement blared out. "You have died." Moments later, the message updated. With that finality, an explosive roar filled the air. Isn't that guy a crazy bastard? With a frustrated glare, he surveyed the scene, clearly exasperated by the man's behavior. After all the chaos and fighting, he felt an overwhelming wave of exhaustion wash over him. "I feel like I need to wash up and sleep." But even considering the dire situation, his anger remained. He thought even a crazy guy wouldn't act like that. "Hey, where's the little guy?" "Huh? What do I have this weird feeling? Now that I think about it, nah, no way that makes sense. How could a cat log into a game?" The next day, suddenly, the text reads, "You have revived." The protagonist feels a sense of dread, stating, "I'd hope that dust settles, because..." He asks, "Is it gone?" A sinister chuckle follows. Ha ha ha. Meanwhile, the character is fully prepared for the confrontation. His expression is grim, signaling that the situation is about to escalate. With a sudden, powerful movement, he swoops down, plunging into the battle. In the desolate expanse of the forgotten world, the characters find themselves confronted by a colossal, menacing presence. As the threat loomed overhead, it was followed by a sudden, almost mocking sound.
Meow!
The tension immediately skyrocketed as one of the figures declared,
"I'm not here to die because of you."
and with absolute defiance the words spilled out, "So to hell with this filthy world." The mighty foe stood silent, its size and sheer power overwhelming everything around it. The raw power and intensity of the moment caused the protagonist to gasp in sheer disbelief. The air was heavy, filled with an unspoken tension as the protagonist observed their surroundings. Suddenly, a massive, looming presence appeared, dominating the scene with its sheer size and shadowy form. As the conflict seemed poised to begin, the focus strangely shifted, drawing attention to a specific, unexpected detail. A gasp escapes the character's lips as a startling realization hits them. It's butt. The confusion mounts quickly, leaving the character staring in disbelief, questioning the very nature of the spectacle. Why? A sudden revelation drops on him. His class is, unexpectedly, Butler, and it is marked as hidden. Stunned, he can only manage to whisper,
"Butler?
His mind races as he reacts to the unbelievable truth.
Wait! I was chosen!"
But the shock quickly deepens into utter disbelief. He stares forward, murmuring,
"I've never even heard of a class called Butler."
"Don't tell me I'm being forced into a class change." The character stares in utter disbelief as the situation unfolds before him. A massive and overwhelming energy begins to form, threatening to consume everything. Suddenly, an intense power is applied, focusing the sheer force of darkness. With the powerful aura fully charged, the climax of the conflict begins. The consequences of this immense power crash down, leaving behind an undeniable sense of dread. Class change complete. You are now a butler. Huh? Butler? Do you hear my voice? This presence, what is this? The tension in the air was thick as the protagonist faced an unknown opponent. I can't believe. The opponent pressed the attack, demanding to know, "WHO are you? Who is this man?" The massive figure finally spoke, revealing his true nature. "I am the conqueror. My name is Kalinas." Facing this overwhelming power, the protagonist struggled internally, thinking, "Why are you doing this?" The opponent smirked, issuing a stark warning. "You really don't know who you're messing with." Cornered and breathless, the protagonist finally forced out the question. What do you want from me?" The screen flickers with a sudden mercy, forcing our protagonist to pay attention. It seems he is being given a vital, if mysterious, task regarding a core concept called RPP. Stunned and completely confused by the directive, he manages to utter the single, bewildered question, "What is RPP?" As if nothing was amiss, a soft, almost mocking sound rings out, "Meow!" leaving him even more perplexed. He narrows his eyes, realizing this isn't a simple misunderstanding, and asks, his voice filled with mounting suspicion. Before he can finish his thought, the subject of the mystery, a large, dark, and looming figure, takes center stage. He questions, "What is that?" as the atmosphere becomes heavy with unspoken danger. "You show up out of nowhere, forcefully change my profession to be a butler? Seriously, I've never even seen you before. What kind of nonsense is this?" Huffed. "So, will you choose that? In that case, I need to open the butler's skill window." And there it is. We see a clear notification DUTs acquired complete. Upon checking the skills, he discovers his new ability, capture kitty monsters to offer to the master. He pauses for a moment, murmuring. He was presented with a withdrawal notice and the guarantee money was laid out, forcing him into a difficult position. However, the conversation took a sudden turn when he suggested that one might negotiate for his wife's sake. Later, confronting the intimidating figure, someone dared to question if he might not be so bad after all. The tension mounted as they spoke, leading to an observation about his unexpected politeness. The man in the suit continued his dialogue, making a pointed statement that seemed to reveal a hidden depth to his character. Suddenly, everything seemed to pivot, as if the story was about to take a completely unexpected turn. And just when you thought the conversation was ending, he dropped a bombshell. He happens to be an expert who has studied cats for many years. "Are you saying you can handle me well?" The character challenges the creature, setting the stage for the inevitable conflict. With a dangerous edge in his voice, he warns, "Honestly, since you won't let me go, I'll show you what it's like." The tension builds as the two characters engage in a fierce confrontation, exchanging challenging glances. Observing the situation closely, he murmurs, "So, you're one of the ones who..." The moment of conflict reaches its peak, leaving the viewer breathless. He responds with shock, exclaiming, "Didn't know you could," but his guard immediately goes back up as he continues, "You won't think you can handle it." Suddenly, a clear notification flashes, "Bonding successful. You can now check the master's condition." The final status report confirms the results. The status is uneasy, with a stress level of 119, marking the master's condition check. What's causing such a high level of anxiety? After a period of tension, the protagonists seem to understand the gravity of the situation. A figure spoke, stating, "It's about time, character A." Then demanded to know, "What's my condition?" Receiving an assessment, the reply was clear. "You're in a state of heightened anxiety." Curiosity piqued, character A pressed further, asking, "What's the reason?" The character begins by suggesting a theory, noting that perhaps the issue stems from the unfamiliar environment. He continues explaining that when an animal, much like a cat, is placed outside of its established territory, its anxiety level begins to rapidly increase. After a moment of realization, he deduces the serious consequence of this situation. If that is the case, then it means that the entire world is registering and feeling that this is his territory. His stress level rapidly spikes, soaring past 131. Driven by this overwhelming environmental pressure, he lunges forward. The ensuing impact is massive, signaling a powerful struggle against the overwhelming force. Facing this challenge, he stands ready, embodying sheer determination and power. The tension was palpable as they finally stood face to face with an overwhelmingly powerful creature. The status indicators warned them. The stress level was dangerously high, barely manageable. Frustration mounted. "Green Shield, I'm pissed off. What kind of monster is this?" The sheer power of the enemy was unlike anything they had faced before. But giving up was not an option. With determination, the hero braced himself for the next move. He unleashed his full force, launching himself into the fray amidst a spectacular blast of energy. Understanding the current situation, he quickly decided to utilize the butler skill, switching tactics to capture rather than outright defeat. A tutorial prompt appeared, guiding him. Aim the capture trap toward the DB. He needed precision to succeed. With perfect timing, he concentrated all his energy, releasing the brilliant net of capture, enveloping the target entirely. And just like that, the immense effort paid off. They had successfully captured the elusive salamander. The moment of truth arrived, surrounding the characters in a deep blue mist. As the confrontation unfolded, tension built in the air, drawing all eyes toward the center. Suddenly, a figure stepped forward. Butler Kim, how did it go? Looking directly back, the challenge was clear. He continued, speaking with utter conviction. You must felt a great sense of loss like that, right, Master? Following his words, the atmosphere shifted, pointing towards the undeniable reality of their power. The surrounding pressure increased, suggesting the immense magnitude of the power displayed. Meanwhile, the menacing figures closed in, their presence radiating raw, untamed energy. Finally, all that remained was the deep, ominous sound, a warning reverberating through the darkness. With a massive burst of power, everything culminated in a devastating impact. And after the show is over, how was my service? I see! The Master's mood has indeed improved. I'm glad to see you satisfied.
Wait, there is something I'm afraid I have to ask you about. I'd rather settle this with working hours, perhaps. Are you saving money? Do you have a family to take care of?
I was deep wondering. Yes, that's correct. But I don't have any money in this world right now. What? Then how about this? What if I take the item you obtain from hunting? I'll let you see the compensation however you like. Yes. But what should I? I was in deep wondering how to survive if I couldn't catch that fish. And with that, the item was acquired, a lizard tail, worth 24 gold. Even when the sky falls, there is always a way out. Is it really just an oversized cat? Then for the final step, activating the butler's skill, snack making. Based on the butler's cooking rank, the available options are now revealed. The air in the chamber was thick with anticipation. As we watched the master work, a tense silence settled over the entire group, awaiting the final presentation. Finally, with a gentle glow, the process was complete. A perfect dish of grilled salamander had been prepared, seemingly ready for the master's taste. The choice was placed directly before them. Will you allow the master to have this? A critical decision hung in the balance, demanding an immediate answer. Suddenly, a distinct odor cut through the sweet aroma of the food. What is that smell? The question hung in the air, drawing attention away from the carefully prepared feast. And as the mystery deepened, the master stepped forward, taking center stage. With a thoughtful expression, they prepared to uncover the source of the unexpected scent. He seems utterly captivated by the scene unfolding before him. Hoon's reaction suggests a profound realization. The master's declaration seems to deepen the mystery surrounding them. The tension builds as the character stands poised, looking intensely at Hoon. Butler, demanding more. Isn't there any left? The scene intensifies as the interaction progresses dramatically. The realization seems to hit Hoon fully. The dramatic curtain falls on their intensely emotional meeting. The system confirms that you have successfully obtained the required items. Amidst the sudden silence, the character expression shifts, realizing the true gravity of the situation unfolding before them. Suddenly, a tremendous, unsettling presence descends into view, casting a shadow over the entire area. As the danger becomes undeniable, the colossal threat fully emerges, displaying a monstrous and terrifying form. The creature unleashes its destructive power, its immense energy filling the space and signaling the start of a massive confrontation. Every time Master goes auto-hunting, my wallet gets fatter, and I don't even have to lift a finger. All right then, shall I go collect the items? Is this the real taste of auto-hunting? Master, thank you. Seems like you like the rewards. Yes, I'll do my best to assist you at your side. Snack making skill is ready to use. The cooldown has reached. Snack making, start. The process begins, setting the stage for the next phase of his ability. Subsequently, beckoning him sweetly, saying, "Come have a snack with me, master." With a moment of focus, his true calling, the role of a formidable swordsman, is established. Shifting his focus, he immediately initiates a check for his current quest objectives. Afterward, he simply accepts the challenge laid before him. Suddenly, a system message appears, asking if he would like to begin the tutorial, prompting a choice of continuation. We were considering moving to the nearest village, but how do I move that big man? If I leave him from his territory, it would get stressed. Look at the stress level. It's already dangerously high. Master, I've come up with a plan. The master simply replies, "Say it." I thought there must be a reason why we were summoned to this place. I agree with your thought. So, I think it'd be better to gather some info first. I got this, but do you have a plan? Do you recall that our territory was restricted? Yes, but if you defeat the phoenix, the surroundings area will be your territory. But what kind of creature is this phoenix? Is it strong? We'll start here. Wow, an interesting fellow. The opponent stated this, warning that though they encountered flame, they would fear none. They continued their advance, moving with undeniable power. Suddenly, a realization hit them. They recalled a saying, "If the cat encounters the phoenix, it will run away and hide." To fight the phoenix Punkel, we must first make you fearless of fire. In the midst of the chaos, indeed as you said, I do feel afraid. Do whatever it takes to help me. The monster cried out, cornered, and seemingly desperate. The leader immediately questioned the method. "So, your plan is to throw me into lava?" The answer came instantly, correct, but the opponent remained skeptical, asking, "Is there a more effective way to adapt?" The monster replied, attempting to boast about its resilience. "Maybe if I were in a normal state, I wouldn't be affected by the lava." However, the observer cut through the boasting. The final verdict was delivered. Your body is classified as a boss monster. With a massive surge of power, he screamed, "Is this a boss monster?" He groaned, complaining, "Why are you always so boring of it?" Before being questioned, he declared, "I'm interesting, but not enough to jump into lava." The character paused, giving a slow, thoughtful, before looking deeply frustrated. Finally, realizing the current approach wasn't working, he stated, switching to Plan B, casting Return Spell. As the character prepared to disappear, he offered a final parting message, "I'll be back soon." However, before he could fully vanish, someone shouted, "Where are you going?" Meanwhile, the imposing figure stepped in, confronting him and declaring, "You're not going anywhere." The tension mounted until the figure questioned him directly, "Who are you?" The grand scale of the surrounding world was revealed. This was the magnificent Grenadier city of the Light faction Serentium. The scene shifted, taking the characters deep into the heart of the action, within the adventurer's warehouse. Upon inquiry, he asked the guard what specific item they were looking for. The guard simply responded with a thoughtful, And also, he then specified his needs, asking for a climbing rope and dynamite. After receiving the supplies, a question was posed. What are you going to use these for? The answer was clear, to tame a monster. Though wishing him luck, a character mused, I wonder what kind of monster you are trying to tame. A moment of realization struck him. Oh right, as if remembering something crucial, he added, almost forgot one thing. The fight intensified, placing them in the center of a dangerous, rugged landscape. Suddenly, they realized the monster's connection to a specific resource, the fireproof wood butane tree. It was revealed that this monstrous creature was capable of feeding on the wood, even crushing it, to gain immense flame resistance. At first, the heroes underestimated the threat, believing it was just another pain point in their battle. However, they quickly discerned its ultimate weakness. The monster would inevitably retreat and hide in the lava whenever it felt truly threatened. With this crucial knowledge in hand, the final devastating blow was launched. Before us looms a massive, terrifying presence. We are confronted by something colossal and immense. A sheer force of nature stands before us, emanating an overwhelming aura that fills the very air. Who the heck is this? The tension skyrockets as the source of this power becomes dangerously clear, engulfed in a furious blaze. This power belongs to a being that dares to disturb the sweet nap of Kerberos, the watchdog of the underworld. The confrontation intensifies, sending shockwaves through the surrounding landscape. A realization dawns on the character. A critical element is about to be revealed. Regardless of time and place, if you ask what prey cats love most, the number one answer is definitely a mouse, right? The small mouse figure appears, holding its own ground. You don't know how much pain I can deal to you when I'm angry, do you? The other character scoffed, adding, You have no idea at all. The threat escalated. If you apologize, I'll spare you. It's the last chance. To which the recipient responded with utter disdain. How you're insignificant. However, the confrontation continued. Another character observed the scene, noting, That relaxed. I don't like this feeling. They soon realized their disadvantage, declaring, I'm soaked now. I can't use flames then. A burst of outrage followed, as one character yelled, Janglant creature! I clearly gave you a chance to return alive. This harsh warning led to a tense standoff between them. The confrontation concluded with a chilling promise. The character finished with a declaration that left no room for doubt. Next time I see you, you're dead. Wait. I was trying to tell you that you have no flame resistance right now. It's getting hotter. This isn't normal. Suddenly, a panel pops up with an alert. You can use RPP to turn monster into minions. Hey, what exactly are you planning to do here? Despite his questioning tone, he finds a moment to offer a truce, saying, "Sorry, but I'm offering to take care of you." However, the man quickly shifts his thoughts, noting, "Oh no, I haven't even gotten married yet." Before the creature can react, he assures it, "Don't be afraid, I'll take care of you." As the creature whispers, sacrificial, his gaze hardens. He warns the animal, "So don't give me a reason to leave." He continues, asserting his power. "If you're here, you're trapped." Then, seemingly trying to help, he asks, "Can I help you meet a better person?" But before anything can happen, the tension reaches a breaking point. He finally concedes, saying, "So, I'll do it. Wait." With a sigh of finality, he declares, "Sorry, but I'm keeping you." After a moment of internal panic filled with urgency, he cries out, "I'll do it. Damn it. What do I need to do?" Finally, after a dramatic realization, he delivers his ultimate decision to the terrified creature. "Seriously, but sorry for scaring you, but I'm keeping you. If you become a minion, you won't be able to withstand Master's attacks. Secondly, it's necessary to make Master. I swore to bring him back to life." The plan seems to be set, laying out the precise steps needed for the revival. A shocking revelation. It's a guaranteed way for you to survive 100%. With the method secured, the character proceeds to initiate the procedure. The system confirms the action, and the command is given, "Start." The process begins, building up incredible energy and tension. As the energy washes over them, the minion creature prepares itself for the powerful transformation. With immense focus, the protagonist channels his power, culminating in the completion of a massive creation process. The system confirms the success of his efforts, marking the completion of the minion creation. Having successfully manifested his minions, the man now turns his attention to the surrounding environment, setting the stage for a confrontation. Suddenly, a figure speaks, his tone laced with surprise and disbelief, questioning the protagonist's very presence. The tension mounts as the protagonist stares into the distance, his eyes fixed on a single, powerful objective. He reveals his true mission, stating with firm conviction that he is searching for a king. The scene concludes with a looming figure, a massive, powerful beast, silhouetted against the backdrop, signaling the inevitable clash to come. What? What is this? The sudden shock leaves them breathless, unable to process the sheer scale of the mystery surrounding them. Amidst the barrage of confusion and repeated struggles, a wave of uncertainty washes over the character, leaving them deep in thought. The overwhelming power finally peaks. The confrontation reaches a dramatic peak, setting the stage for the next phase of the story. Having used the speed potion, his force to run away, he knows that no matter how fast he runs, he cannot escape this. He cries out, "For the cause!" But the overwhelming power of the enemy is too much. With a desperate struggle, he faces the heat and the threat. The battle escalates, and the fight takes a brutal turn. The battle rages on, engulfed in flames and peril, with the looming threat of that massive structure before them. A moment of intense realization dawns on the main character as they whisper, "They're too close." Determined to escape the danger, the character quickly decides, "I need to detonate this," to beginning their desperate plan. As the danger closes in, their ally takes off, running through the smoke and chaos, desperately trying to find safety. Looking down from their precarious position, the character yells a desperate command, "Run, Gravity!" With nothing left to lose, they plunge into the void, launching themselves into the final explosive confrontation. The battle was far from over. A devastating aura exploded outward, scattering the landscape and challenging everything we knew. But even facing such overwhelming force, one character stood firm, emitting a challenging roar. A cold realization struck them. "Sorry for the misunderstanding," they muttered while their opponent prepared for the next attack. Drawn into the center of the confrontation, the tension thickened as the clash intensified. As the enemy pressed their advantage, the protagonists braced themselves, knowing they had to face the sheer depth of power. Everything narrowed down to a critical moment. An overwhelming wave of energy surged, promising a cataclysmic climax. Suddenly, the chaotic energy faded, leaving behind a vast, desolate expanse. The final confrontation was finally upon them. With no retreat left, the silence was broken by the sound of monumental power descending. "You can't escape from me. The dominant creature looms, its presence threatening and inescapable. Suddenly, a more agile figure intervenes, challenging the foe with the words, "Let me play with you." Skull. The conflict escalates quickly, with raw power building around the characters, signaling a massive confrontation is about to erupt. The tension reaches its peak as one character makes a dramatic, powerful move, their movements charged with dangerous energy. No hesitation, no mercy. However, the dramatic struggle concludes, leaving one opposing figures in a tense situation. Maybe, because of the dog's body, I keep getting at him. A pet cat. Is that, yes, a very cute pet that wants to lose. Action continues, hands reaching out, raising the tension. The moment builds, promising a climax in the struggle. With barely a moment's hesitation, he launched himself into the fray, heading straight toward the epicenter of the conflict. He plunges deeper into the burning core, the impact unavoidable. In the face of fear, you will find strength. No one can stand against me. The protagonist was overwhelmed by the sheer might of the opposition. The battle raged on, requiring the heroes to regroup and strategize against an enemy that seemed unstoppable. Momentarily reflecting, the protagonist gathered his resolve, understanding that a direct confrontation was inevitable. With a renewed sense of determination, they prepared for the final assault, moving forward to meet the threat head-on. The moment of truth arrived. All efforts were concentrated into this one final crucial move. The protagonist stood resolute, ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. The confrontation has reached a critical point. Before the heroes can secure victory, a new power emerges, demanding attention. To the foolish ones, you will realize the futility of your challenge. The immense wave of power overwhelms the surroundings, signaling the beginning of a new, inescapable threat. The protagonists face the source of this overwhelming energy, understanding that their odds are stacked against them. In a desperate move, they commit themselves to the final clash, facing the unimaginable force head-on. With all their remaining strength, they charge toward the heart of the destructive power, determined to survive. Is it really going to work? Can we truly defeat them? Of course, I will make it possible. As the battle roared to life, a monstrous opponent materialized, filling the battlefield with sheer power, his gaze steady, knowing what he needed to do next. With a sudden burst of energy, the force launched itself toward the encroaching darkness. It was a desperate clash of titans, the fight reaching a critical, explosive climax. As the conflict reaches its peak, a powerful phoenix presence descends, illuminating the battlefield with its fiery glow. With an overwhelming surge of power, the entity roars its defiance. "I will rise again! My flame will never die!" Witnessing this immense force, the butler charges forward, declaring their intent to the heavens. "The first place is complete. We will destroy the god and defeating first." However, as they approach their ultimate target, a realization dawns. Another voice rings out, filled with surprise. "Interesting. They are approaching with so much power." The battle rages on, and the sheer intensity of the flames consumes everything in sight. Look at the colossal power unleashed. It forces them into a grueling, devastating clash. Despite the sheer force attacking them, the protagonists press forward, drawing strength from their comrades. It was clear that they were faced with a threat beyond anything they had ever encountered before. They gather their remaining strength, preparing for one final, epic confrontation. With a monumental surge of power, they launch themselves directly into the heart of the inferno, ready to change the tide of battle. The battle raged on, a whirlwind of power and destruction. Every clash sent tremors through the battlefield, forcing our heroes to fight for their very survival. Despite their overwhelming odds, they pushed forward, unleashing tremendous bursts of energy. It was clear that the threat they faced was unlike anything they had encountered before. But the enemy only grew stronger. Facing ultimate defeat, they gathered every ounce of remaining strength, preparing for a move that would change everything. With a desperate surge of resolve, they initiated the final devastating blow. It was a blinding display of power, aimed straight at the core of the threat, and then everything exploded. The sheer magnitude of the attack ripped across the battlefield, sealing the fate of the powerful enemy in a spectacular flash of light. Now it's our turn to lure Master to that cliff. The real challenge starts now. The ground trembles violently, and a colossal pillar of energy erupts before us. We have to fight through this inferno to reach the source. Despite the massive flames engulfing everything, we push forward, following the only path left. No matter how overwhelming the enemy force is, we refuse to give up. We must follow the path to the core. Then, the confrontation began. Observing the unfolding chaos, the minions watched intently, gathering his strength for the next move. Despite the fierce assault, the minions managed to muster a counterattack, radiating sheer, stubborn power. The intensity only grew. The force behind the resistance was monumental, defying all odds. A massive wave of energy engulfed the area. The power unleashed was catastrophic, shaking the very foundations of the battlefield. Amidst the wreckage and swirling dust, the true master remained, poised to determine the outcome of this confrontation. The strategy is clear. We need to place a massive weapon, a catapult, right here. First, we must select the precise position to set up the catapult. The position needs adjustment, a little more to the left. Yes, okay, that is the perfect spot. The team proceeds to construct the massive catapult in the designated area. With the location confirmed, they proceed to build and stabilize the entire machine. Everything looks ready. The crew gives the final command, confirm. The immense catapult is now fully assembled, primed for action. A powerful crash echoes across the field as the weapon is prepared. Watching the sheer scale of the setup, a sense of dread washes over the members. I'm getting a bit scared, but despite the fear, they hold their ground, ready to face the challenge. You can be proud. And so, they stand ready for the final explosive clash. As the battle intensified, the sheer power displayed left everyone reeling. The combatants faced each other, breaths ragged, as the fate of the entire situation hung in the balance. A moment of suspicion settled over the group. You're not lying, are you, Kim Butler? The characters challenged, questioning his true allegiance. However, the conversation took a darker turn. The realization dawned that he was choosing to become a minion, a path fraught with betrayal. Determined to fight back against the deception, the protagonist stood his ground, demanding, "You despite you don't trick me, right?" With a sudden burst of energy, the confrontation escalated. A massive explosive force erupted, dominating the entire frame and signaling a critical turning point in the fight. Standing amidst the chaos, the tension remained palpable. The final, devastating move was poised to change everything, leaving the audience anticipating the next move. With a final, earth-shattering surge of power, the master finally managed to overcome the insurmountable threat. He succeeded. The master has definitively defeated the enemy, marking a monumental victory for the entire party. Witnessing the sheer magnitude of the power, the heroes could only exclaim, "Oh, is this heaven?" After all the bloodshed, a sense of profound relief settled over them. They had survived, having accomplished something unbelievable. They spoke in hushed tones, recounting the unbelievable events they had just endured, unsure if they were dreaming. The moment of recognition came, confirming their survival and the tremendous achievement they had accomplished. And with it came the resounding proclamation, "Congratulations on becoming the power of the land zone." Standing triumphant, he surveyed the area, acknowledging the sheer scale of the victory before him. Before them lay a massive, sprawling complex, a daunting new location that promised even more adventure ahead. As the dust settles, the conversation begins, centered around a specific reward. He questioned the arrangement, asking, "Since it's the reward for a record-breaking fight," and with a challenging look he declared, "I can look for it a bit. I had hoped, but I never expected. This will drop the Phoenix Arcanix, Master. As I promised, I'll take this." Wait, the unexpected cry shattered the intense tension between them. "It looks too much for you to handle." The words hung in the air, a clear challenge delivered in the heart of the conflict. The confrontation continued, escalating the stakes, until one of the characters finally reminded the other of their obligations. "Don't we make a contract? You're supposed to stick to your word now." With a firm declaration, the character countered, "I keep my promises." The immediate aftermath led to a puzzled reaction. The tension only cooled slightly, until a character spoke of allowing them to play with the dangerous object. However, the mood shifted when another voice spoke, critically observing the opponent's capability. "Hey, that was a pretty big deal. You seem like you can't handle it." But even in that moment of weakness, a spark of defiance remained. "I can." The confrontation concluded not with victory, but with a system notification, confirming the acquisition of powerful items. "Maybe I can recover something in this quest event." "What? Why is this happening?" "Oh no, I'm sorry, Master. You seem to feel that your hunting reward was stolen when the items disappeared." "Wait, Please wait a moment. What is this? The character observes the object, and though they seem hesitant, they continue to investigate. As the situation escalates, the character expresses deep doubt, mumbling, "I'm not sure if it'll work." A surprising sound rings out, signaling a moment of shock, followed by a clear, almost gentle meow. A transition moment follows, characterized by a loud outburst. Meow! The man in the suit reacts, and a sound of pleasure escapes him. Ogu! He reflects on the soothing atmosphere, stating, "The feeling so good." He finally finds peace, murmuring, "I'm relieved you seem to have calmed down." Looking back at the source of the calming effect, the character remembers, the fresh grass scent was nice, but I'd forgotten about it, since who knew this would be so effective? The character seems to realize the power of their recent strategy. Meanwhile, their attention shifts to a new goal, stating, "I want to." After a brief pause, a system notice indicates, "Please wait a moment." The focus then moves to the auction house, suggesting the character needs to utilize the system's marketplace. The character begins investigating, asking if they can use certain resources. They initiate a search, looking specifically for recipes that involve certain ingredients. Understanding what they are missing, the protagonist determines their next move. They announce, "I want to use all my experience to learn." Finally, the system confirms the opportunity, telling the character that they are able to learn and improve their skills. Advanced Expert Chef. The chef revealed his unique skill. He reflected on the times of his crafting, declaring with confidence, "I can make delicious food." Despite understanding that the process involved deep difficulty, the conversation turned to history. One person asked about the last trading value of Ankonix Manhwa, but its value had since declined considerably. Eventually hearing the sound of the system, the final transaction took place, setting the price at a remarkable 14,000 gold. I've been waiting for you." The character's frustration finally boils over, demanding to know how long they have had to wait. Growing increasingly desperate, they confront the person they are addressing, demanding to know exactly what they require. They plead, asking if the other party knows what it feels like to struggle, to live without basic necessities. The patient finally snaps, concluding with the decisive statement, "I'm done waiting for you." The character takes charge of the situation, adopting a defiant stance, telling the other party to simply take what they want because they refuse to wait any longer. The scene shifts as the character approaches a system screen, pondering their options and asking themselves, "Which one should I pick?" After a moment of internal struggle, the character finally figures it out, settling on the conclusion that fish is definitely the best. Standing amidst a surge of magical energy, the process begins as treat crafting is initialized. Immediately, the system interface prompts him to select the necessary ingredients for his craft. Looking over the materials, he concludes that the biggest and freshest is the best. Once his choice is made, the system confirms the bulk purchase is complete. Unexpectedly, a new notification appears. Additional presentation has been added to the treat crafting. With all preparations finalized, the cooking is officially initialized. He then gets to work, meticulously slicing and prepping the massive ingredients to complete his masterpiece. After all the tension built up, the treat has finally been presented. The attendant smoothly declares, "Master, your treat is ready." But upon seeing the dish, the man gasps, questioning, "Oh my, what is this smell?" Despite the initial hesitation, the energy in the room quickly shifts. Another voice excitedly announces, It's going to be delicious." The mystery continues as the main character examines the offering, murmuring softly, "Taste?" After a moment of contemplation, he sniffs and begins to taste it. The mystery continues as the main character examines the offering, murmuring softly, "Taste?" After a moment of contemplation, he sniffs and begins to taste it, thinking, It tastes." The flavor was overwhelming, causing him to react with pure delight. "Amazing," he cries out, utterly satisfied. Finally, the experience culminates in a gasp of pure shock and delight from the man, finishing the scene with, "What kind of taste is this?" The man carefully observes the thick meat, analyzing its appearance. He murmurs, A look of understanding crosses his face as he says, "Oh, I know what that feeling is, master." The character is moved by the offering, a gesture of gratitude. He whispers with contentment, Then, as the tension builds, he warns, "This is only a warm-up, Master. Master is greatly pleased with your service." The Master seems to be feeling extremely satisfied. Following this praise, the Master reveals his intentions, stating that he wants to reward you for your service. The journey continued through the dense green landscape, but soon a weariness set in. One character voiced a simple complaint: "I'm getting bored." Another character quickly followed up on this thought, theorizing that their presence here might not be accidental. They wondered, it must be a setting created for some event. As the party continued deeper into the woods, a crucial question was raised. They questioned the nature of the place they were approaching. "Butler, what kind of village are we heading to?" However, the truth proved far more complex. One character reflected on the deep past, noting that while they had arrived long ago, this place was not what it appeared to be. It was not a village. A deeper realization followed this revelation. The scenery, and perhaps the events themselves, seemed to be repeating, hinting at an unending cycle. "Are we lost?" Despite the initial worry, a reassuring voice quickly replied, assuring that a way would be found. However, concerns remained, with someone questioning the lack of something important. Eventually, a realization set in, marked by the simple agreement, "I suppose." Meanwhile, the journey leads them back through time, flashing back to when they were learning the overwhelming power of the darkness. Then, a profound shift occurred. While everything seemed to be enveloped in sleep, a new force finally began to awaken. It was the voice of my ancestors, a call that echoed with the power of the mighty. He declared that he had returned to this land, determined to save the darkness itself. And then, in a moment of devastating truth, he saw you before his eyes. Of everything that transpired, this is all that remains in his memory. Are the three great kingdoms all that exists? The roster of power includes Grak, the Troll Nation, and also Nocturne, the Vampire Nation. It was a power the world believed had been lost forever, a secret only whispered in the deepest corners of history. But when the confrontation finally arrived, we realized the beast was far more powerful than any legend dared to describe. He looked down upon us with disdain, knowing that everything we cherished was built upon shaky foundations. There was no escaping the truth, and neither was there a way to stop the inevitable shift. The Master had underestimated us, and we were about to show him just how far we could go. The narration shifts to a certain village, nestled peacefully among the lush green mountains. Inside the hall, Lord Jugra enters the room and asks Lord Duran with concern, "What's wrong, Lord Jugra?" Lord Jugra looks up, his voice heavy, as he confirms that the Phoenix's energy has indeed disappeared. Duran tries to remain calm, reasoning that it will simply resurrect again and questioning why there is any worry. However, Jugra insists that this time is different, judging the situation as a total and complete extinction. Stunned by the weight of this revelation, Duran can only manage to ask in shock, "How?" It seems the monster has noticed that the Phoenix has disappeared. "We really don't have much time. Homie Riley sent out hunting and might come back yet." But wait, what does this mean? The characters survey the area as things change around them. The sudden appearance or realization causes immediate alarm. "Riley. Are you going to keep forcing us to follow your wishes? I've listened to your complaints so many times. Shouldn't you keep promising us something?" "What's wrong, Squidkey? We should help each other, don't we?" "Forget it. We need to get to the other side. If kindness continues, just once, okay?" You think you're right. The tension sparks instantly as the argument heats up. They move quickly through the forest, urgency in every step as the mission presses on. They need to find the road fast, supplies are running low and time isn't on their side. But the response is cold. It dismissed as nothing more than the butler problem. Suddenly, danger emerges, something lurking, watching, ready to strike. A butler recalls its master was the emperor, seeing this moment as a chance to change its fate. It charges forward recklessly, determined to prove itself despite the chaos. But it immediately shut down, its actions called out as foolish and meaningless. The creature protests, insisting they don't understand true fear. Regret follows quickly, an apology slips out, but the urgency remains. It insists there's no choice. It needs to be fed before sunset. Then suddenly, a warning cuts through the moment. "Butler, behind you." The battle rages on with explosive energy. Suddenly, utter panic sets in as the character cries out, questioning, "Where did it go? Are you okay?" Amidst the chaos, a concerned voice calls out, checking on the condition of their companion. The fight escalates dramatically. The sheer force of the attack is overwhelming, plunging the characters into a brutal, powerful clash. Suddenly, one character questioned the situation, demanding to know why their planned maneuver had failed. The mysterious presence that appeared before them, with an intimidating aura, seemed to react to the confrontation. The realization hit them. Their preparations had been completely outmatched by the opponent. The powerful figure stood there, observing them with a confident, almost mocking demeanor. The character then made a clear declaration, calling out the location of their target. They cornered their adversary, revealing that the one they were looking for was finally within their grasp. A gasp of realization.
Please save me.
After everything, they are still in danger. Please save me. But then, a comforting voice assures them, it's okay. It's okay. We're not bad people. Despite the fearsome surroundings, they realize they are truly lost. We were lost and wandering in the mountains. Finally, with hope renewed, they plead for help. Could you guide us to the village? Layli, tell me, were you afraid when you saw the master? I was. Truly afraid. Huh. Then why did you attack us? I wanted to prove my strength, even if it meant being reckless. Because this is the only way I know to prove that I can become a warrior. It turns out, I'd been lacking all along. My father was right. Layli, you're already strong enough, but this time, your opponent is Lord Kalinus, someone incredibly powerful. Really? Trust me, your strength and your skills are more than enough to prove it. Something like that. Finally, after what seemed like an endless journey, they could see the light ahead. But the journey was far from over. A moment later, one character realized that they were truly lost. Despite their worries, they soon reached a pivotal location, the place they needed to proceed to. Suddenly, a scream pierced the air as something momentous happened, bringing them to their knees. With the shock setting in, a direct question cut through the tension. Mom? The large figure before them could not allow them to pass. With a thunderous command, he roared, "Stop right there!" As they stood frozen in the confrontation, a desperate warning was shouted out to the group. They're not enemies. In the ultimate moment of crisis, a cry rang out, demanding that Layli get to them immediately. Another step, and I'll snap these as an act of aggression. He has this look that could kill. But maybe he'll try to persuade them. Yeah, I'll leave it to him. As the group advances, tension spreads through the crowd waiting ahead. Layli, are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? What wrong? Something happened. Those little guys. I tried my best, but they're not entirely convinced. It seems one failed attempt to persuade them wasn't enough. I'll look for a different way. But it won't be easy. They're already wary. Looks like you can't rely on them this time. Watch me. He steps forward with quiet confidence. All right then, let's do this. How dare you bare your teeth without knowing who you're dealing with? My master is the savior of the darkness. The challenge was clear. A confrontation had begun. Show your respect to my master. The opponent didn't back down, meeting their gaze with absolute confidence. The figure before them seemed untouchable. His aura spoke of a power that was truly immense, hinting at a legacy few had ever witnessed. They couldn't believe it. To think that this man, that he held such power. A chilling warning followed. If you obey him, you will. The sheer might emanating from the master was overwhelming. They finally understood the meaning of the name, the Phoenix. Shock rippled through the group. How? The reality of the situation seemed too great to comprehend. No way, the Phoenix. The revelation shook them to their core. With the tension at its peak, the confrontation was about to explode. Suddenly, the figure simply uttered, "Inventory. Open." The opponent confidently dismisses their fears, asserting that the force they face, the Phoenix's flame, is a power they cannot comprehend or counter. He continues, warning them that their efforts are futile because this specific source of power is the only one that matters. With that declaration, he demands that all who oppose them must submit their strength to the rightful master. When challenged by doubt, he stares back, scoffing, and tells them that their assumptions are far too doubtful. A tremendous burst of energy engulfs the area as the figure reveals his true power, summoning a colossal beast of mythic proportions into the battleground. With the overwhelming display of force settled, the confrontation boils down to the final, intense showdown between the two opposing sides. Against such overwhelming power, there is no escape. The colossal monster appears, dominating the entire battlefield. Suddenly, a devastating burst of flame erupts. The sheer force of the energy washes over everything, engulfing the entire area in destructive fire. The inferno intensifies. The blast sends waves of heat and power outward, forcing all the surrounding enemies into chaos as they reel from the impact. The conflict is escalating, the flames raging higher. The battle reaches a fever pitch as the remaining forces are caught in the epicenter of the devastation. There is no place to run. The monster attacks continue relentlessly, painting the battlefield with unimaginable, destructive might. But even against such insurmountable odds, the protagonist stands firm, raising his stance and preparing to unleash the next assault. The battle resumes with savage intensity. The clashing energy and desperate movements prove that the fight is far from over. With a determined snarl that screams raw vengeance, he confronts the enemy head-on. This is the moment of truth. The final powerful clash begins. Against the imposing figure, there was no escape. The shadow enveloped everything, signaling the arrival of a truly terrifying presence. The pressure was overwhelming. It felt as if the very ground beneath them began to crumble under the weight of such immense power. Despite the sheer might displayed, the core target was recognized. Callous. Suddenly, the true identity was exposed. This was no mere enemy, they faced the Lord of Darkness. The situation was crystal clear and devastating. With a chilling pronouncement, the fate of an entire group was sealed. The Ark tribe is now sworn to serve their master. Good work, Kim Butler. The praise confirms that all the effort was recognized. Next, a status update confirms that motivating the party to the nearest village was successfully completed. The system then reports that Tutorial Stage 2 has been successfully completed, and the focus shifts toward gaining battle information. Momentarily, the system relays a critical message. Your master is satisfied with your service, accompanied by a service charge of 50 RPP. As the scene shifts to a new location, the character is confronted with a pivotal decision point regarding a quest. A decision must be made, forcing the character to confirm a potential quest ahead. To help their master, a new task is revealed, gathering necessary information from a trusted source. The narrative builds tension, but before the mission can begin, a deep sense of apprehension settles over the area. Finally, a voice echoes, stating clearly, "I'm feeling uncomfortable. I wish to leave this place." Despite his wishes, the conversation stalled. The butler seemed to refuse the request, stating, "Even we are surrounded by poor security." An internal realization dawned on the butler. "It seems that's the source of your discomfort, Master." "Apologies, Master. Please bear with this for tonight. The outdated garrison. Even I've already instructed the chief village for accommodation. It seems this is the only option. Following this discussion, I'll go to confirm it once again." "Dad, I've got everything I need on my own." "Dad, I can't. You are too young to join us, don't." "Enough." However, the character insists, declaring, "I want to. I can prove it." A figure warns them, reminding them that they are stuck in a difficult situation. The discussion quickly turns challenging, with someone asking, "When do you start training?" Attempting to excuse themselves, another pleads, "I'm sorry, but they refuse to back down, asserting, "I'm ready." Seeing their defiance, a commanding voice cuts them off. "Enough." Then, an absolute rule is stated. A woman can't be a warrior. Desperate, they continue to plead, "Please allow me, Dad." Ultimately, their request is rejected with a final firm warning: "You can't participate in war." Is Master's resting area ready? He then suggests they should go together. At this point, a character steps forward, saying, "I want to apologize to Sir." Hearing this, someone realizes, "So, that's why you were being cautious with us." However, another character intervenes with reassurance, saying, "Master will understand. Don't worry." Finally, the character asks, "Could you tell me more about the situation?" He suggested, "Let's talk on the way," implying that the conversation could wait until they were traveling together. However, the conversation quickly shifted to discussing a formidable threat, referring to the Phoenix, and noting that its presence was inherently dangerous. A character cautioned them about the immense danger posed by the Phoenix, warning that its unpredictable power would cause serious trouble. The conversation emphasized how dangerous the creature was, leaving the group realizing the extent of the threat they faced. Suddenly, the topic changed as someone mentioned a daughter, pointing out that this individual was causing even greater problems. The warning continued, suggesting that their current predicament was dire and that they had no escape from the growing peril. The realization dawned that their biggest challenge was not merely a monster, but something far deeper and more difficult to confront. They were reminded of the Phoenix's immense power, establishing it as the dominant, powerful entity in the area. The discussion then focused on the creature's existence, implying that while it might be cared for, its raw power still represented a significant danger. A serious confrontation was anticipated, with someone declaring, "If we fight," suggesting that the outcome would be catastrophic and damaging to the entire village. Finally, a desperate appeal was made, urging assistance and suggesting that the only way out was through combined effort and planning.
What kind of person is Lord Kalingu? The question hangs heavy in the air, challenging the suitability of the individual. One voice responds with confidence. He's got the skills to make it happen. Yet, doubt lingers. Do you really think you're a fitting chief? They cautioned him, stating, "We're making this decision for your safety." However, the discussion takes a turn toward power dynamics. They muse. If the serpent ranks below the phoenix, a protective promise is then made. "I'm clearly planning to protect you." The weight of their need is palpable. "Will you do that for us?" A firm promise follows. "Don't worry, we will protect your village." Overwhelmed by the gesture, he whispers, "I'll never forget your kindness." The conversation ends with a tender address. "Are you all finished?" They question the status of whatever task they were undertaking. Responding to the query, someone stated that they were ready and done. The others reacted with surprise, asking questions like, "Huh?" At that point, one character looked to the others, making a commanding suggestion. However, their apprehension grew, making them stumble back and whisper, "This way, please." The sight of the simple tent made them realize something major. They then argued that this location was not safe, emphasizing that no, this won't. Just as the conversation reached a peak, a sharp, ringing sound suddenly broke the silence. The implication was clear. Everything that had been building up was about to change. "Oh, I see." After a moment of realization, the dialogue suggests the discovery of a new feature. The conversation continues, thanking the other party for their great effort, noting how often they seem to show up. However, a moment of caution follows, suggesting that the current setup might not be comfortable enough, asking if they might be able to make some improvements to the area. Another character expresses surprise, pointing out something that was expected. The action is taken, and the system prompts the user to select an option. Finally, the options are presented, ready for the next choice in their journey. "Oh, if I can customize." The sudden revelation of this possibility made him gasp. "I have to do it." He recalled the system's rule. It was all about satisfying the master, securing rewards through meals and keeping a constant connection. A slow determination set in. He realized that this journey, this investment, was finally worth it this time. With a knowing smile, he mused to himself, "I know exactly what kind of living space master would like." He moved forward, the planning finally taking physical form in his hands, constructing something detailed and intricate. Reviewing the final design, a questioning look crossed his face. Is this enough? All right, let's begin. With the mission initiated, the characters prepare for their challenge. The tension builds as the protagonist gathers his power, ready to face the looming threat before them. Suddenly, they are faced with an overwhelming structure, a colossal, glowing monument that stretches into the heavens. A gasp of pure astonishment escapes them. "Is this a miracle?" they whisper, grappling with the sheer scale of what they are witnessing. The mystery only deepens as they stare up in silent awe. What in the world is this? But just as the confusion peaks, the scene shifts abruptly, replaced by an unsettling question. "Is this my bedroom now? Lord Kalinus, are you here?" The direct question hangs in the air, emphasizing the immediate need for this person's response. The conversation quickly follows, indicating that the characters are gathered, and perhaps the matter of Lord Kalinus's whereabouts has caused some immediate concern among the group. As the group interacts, a strong declaration is made, setting the stage for a significant event or outcome that requires acknowledgement. The moment of tension shifts, and the scene stabilizes. The mystery or the subject of the conversation seems to be revealed in a moment of quiet contemplation. The praise is swift and emphatic,
An overwhelming sense of satisfaction washes over the speaker, proclaiming, "Excellent, I really like it," confirming that whatever was achieved was highly successful. The atmosphere becomes intimate, moving away from the grand drama. A moment of tender interaction occurs, showing physical closeness and deep concern for one another's well-being. The core character addresses the situation directly, providing reassurance. The heartfelt words speak to reliability and comfort in times of need. The scene concludes on a note of absolute safety. With a soothing tone, the characters confirm that they are always there for support, reinforcing the deep bond between them.
I'm glad you liked it. Then I'll head home now. A sudden cry of shock. What? A serpent? If we're going to fight, I need the conversation ship. I'm glad you liked it. A desperate plea is made.
"Speak he. Could you help me out tomorrow?"
The man in the coat delivers a harsh rejection.
"I don't need your help anymore." His tone remains cold, cementing his decision. "Fine. I don't need your help anymore. Have a comfortable night." A lingering thought as the scene fades. "Rest well."